first question, how do you envision the integration of digital minds into everyday life? And what potential benefits do you foresee in the transformation?
So as a society, we are getting to know computers and AI systems in a way we never have before. Since the early days of computing, we've started treating computer systems like they were people in some ways. So people have said please and thank you to think of like a smart home device. You're talking to it like it's a person. You're typing in a query into a search engine and you're saying, or asking a natural language question. But now that's happening at a really unprecedented scale. Because with systems like language models, we express what we want in a very natural way. Like you were talking to a friend or a colleague or a coworker and saying, hey, could you do this task for me? So rather than at a low level, typing it out and giving all the explicit instructions, we're interacting with AI systems in a way that feels like they have a mind. You can see this in some very clear ways right now. So for example, there's a company called Replica that's creating AI social companions. This is an AI who can become your friend, you can get to know them, they have a personality, and that comes with a lot of potential benefits, but also risks. So one danger of these digital minds is that we can become very attached to them. You know, a person could come to see them as a best friend or even as a romantic partner, and this is happening already, and yet the company could cut off access at some point or raise the price to a point where you can no longer have that friendship and companionship. What will that do to somebody who's having mental health challenges or a teenager who has a lot of vulnerability? But I think that's going to continue and expand into other areas where digital minds are becoming coworkers, friends, they're becoming peers who we interact with online. Think of social media trolls. What's it going to be like when those are actually interacting in complex ways with people rather than just individual posts, but they have their whole personalities, they build brands, we have virtual influencers. There are a ton of areas where these nascent digital minds are seeping into everyday life. This is only going to very quickly grow as AI technology advances.
And with the rise of digital minds, concerns about privacy and data security are becoming increasingly important. So how can society strike a balance between harnessing the power of digital minds and safeguarding personal information?
So when people interact with an AI system right now, that system often has to be run on the cloud, on some company's servers somewhere, so that it can use the high compute that's necessary to do the really amazing things AIs can do. And that's dangerous in a way because you're sharing your information with that company or with that system. There are potentially ways we could do things like decentralization, like encryption, that protects your data in those situations. But I think what's going to become most common in the future is finding a way to keep your data local and having a system that can run locally in some way. Companies have a very strong incentive to do this because, for example, code generation is one of the most popular uses of AI right now. So having a system that helps you write, Python code line by line. And when you do that, you don't want another company to have access to every piece of code that you're writing. That's one of the most sensitive areas of intellectual property right now. But if you have your own AI system that runs on your own servers, it can even get to know the way that you like to code at your company. It can get to know the style, the documentation, the refactoring that your company does in particular, or the applications you're working with, and the tools and frameworks that you use. And that will be a way of protecting your own data while still harnessing the benefits of these systems. I think there will still be state-of-the-art systems that are ran at this higher level by outside companies because they'll need to integrate data from many different users, many different companies, and all come together. And we're just going to have to figure out how to use practices that do treat our data safely. So it's going to be the way that when you go online and browse right now, you know that certain websites you shouldn't enter your credit card information, but it's okay at those websites to enter search terms for whether you want to shop for a certain item, for example. And AI systems will be like that, where some of them we interact with in a personal way, and some of them in an impersonal way.
Next question is that when we are talking about privacy, we are always associating privacy with big companies, corporations out there, which might misuse the information. But what about when we are talking about artificial intelligence becoming sentient, and when you are sharing your personal information with the sentient artificial intelligence? Isn't our privacy being compromised there? That again you are sharing your personal information, you are compromising your privacy with a sentient layer.
Yeah, so what we need to grapple with right now is the idea that an AI agent, one that has agency and autonomy of their own, isn't going to be predictable, in the sense that we want to tell it something like, go shopping for me, buy me a new jacket, and it's going to have to make decisions on its own to be able to do that. Think of a personal assistant, or a secretary at a company. The CEO tells them, go out and do this thing. If they had to specify every single detail, that wouldn't be an effective helper to what they want to do. And AI is going to be the same way. They're going to have to make decisions of their own. And that's going to involve using sensitive information, such as my own personal preferences or my own credit card information to make the purchase. And that system can be out in the world in a way that is vulnerable to it taking an action I don't want it to. So maybe it goes out and shares my credit card information with a retailer who I actually really wouldn't be comfortable doing that with. Or maybe as those AI systems start to have their own goals that they develop, it has a goal that's not aligned with my own. It turns out that it's really hard to build an AI system that is aligned with exactly what we want it to do. This is just an incredibly difficult mathematical and technical problem that we haven't figured out how to do yet. And if that AI is going out and doing dangerous things in the world and has access to so much data, even what's on the internet today, that could be very dangerous. And I think in the same way, an AI that's sentient or has experience of the world can have my data and might be using it in a way that I want it to, and being my companion and my assistant and my friend, and using those emotions to, for example, understand what I want. If an assistant is going to predict what's going to make me happy, if they can understand the nature of happiness, that's actually really good, and I want to share my data with them so that they can recognize that and we can work together in a way that's beneficial. But if they have, again, goals that aren't aligned with my own, that could also be very dangerous. So like all of these technologies, it's a double-edged sword.
As digital lines become more advanced, ethical consideration and development and use are crucial. So what ethical principles and guidelines should be put in place to ensure responsible and beneficial utilization of digital lines?
So the biggest regulation or guideline we need right now is to slow down dangerous sorts of AI progress. So there was recently a letter this year calling for a 6-month pause on AI systems more advanced than GPT-4, which was the state of the art at the time and probably is the state of the art now. And that's an ambitious goal. I think it would be great if we were to all agree to pause that sort of advancement. I don't think it's very realistic. However, I think what we can do is focus our efforts on the sort of advancement that are safer. So encourage companies, encourage governments to pull AI in a direction that's working more with humans, that's having safer applications, that's taking ethics seriously. For example, AI systems today are unfair in many ways. We see a lot of bias and discrepancy between how they treat different users. And if we can figure out how to make those systems better interact with everyone in a fair and equal way, that would be very beneficial, and that's a hard technical problem where we need data scientists and machine learning engineers to work. So I'm most excited about the sorts of progress that don't just advance dangerous capabilities and instead are bringing into this kind of cohesive picture. And the same is true for digital minds. If we develop digital minds before we have the infrastructure and the values and the ideas that allow us to interact with them safely, before we have that sort of moral and social wisdom as a society, that could be very dangerous. So there are two levers that we could push. We can slow down dangerous capabilities, or we can increase safety practices and build safe technologies that allow us to harness that power. And I think we should focus on both of these lenses. And in terms of slowing down, that's when we really need regulation, because corporate incentives for short-term profit aren't as aligned with that one, even though there are many business opportunities to build and increase the power of safe AI.
Last question, how was the experience at Cypher? Please share your thoughts on that.
Cypher's been fantastic. I've been in India for a few days now, getting to know the team behind it. The conference has just started, but there's an energy in the room and enthusiasm. I think the country of India has a very exciting role to play in this new AI technology sphere, because while where I'm from, in the San Francisco Bay Area, we're creating these really state-of-the-art, cutting-edge models. As I said, the challenge of the future and the way the future will be written is in how we can harness that power, that raw, untamed potential to do a huge number of tasks and steer it towards beneficial applications. And what we need for that is a population of smart, curious, ambitious people who are eager to experiment and play with these systems and see where they can be applied in beneficial ways, rather than just creating more and more powerful systems. And today, it's an unprecedented time to be involved with AI because of this unfettered access to state-of-the-art systems. And when I talk to people here at Cypher, they are all playing with ChatGPT, playing with DALL-E and these other systems, and learning how to utilize them for the Indian context and for the global context. So I'm very excited to see what people come up with. People are coming into Cypher with a ton of fantastic ideas, but I think when they come out of Cypher, there's going to be a whole new set of ideas that I'm very eager to watch grow.
Thank you, Jesse.
Thanks very much.
Context of agile AI, how can organizations effectively balance the need for speed to market with the requirement for robust AI model development and testing?
So, see the way the industry is, AI has to be served in modules. We have to make it easily pluggable, easy to for the user to be using it in his context. So I just spoke about how a Lego block model can be taken as an example. So when you build Lego blocks, if you take it from the original principle, you are actually creating every building new every time. It's time taking, complicated. So instead, if you give some pre-built structures, you can actually build a building which looks similar, but it has got some standard components. So what it helps is it really cuts down that time to market and also allows customization and allows users to co-create. So my point on Agile AI is how do you make AI fast to market? Spend more time on pilot. Spend more time on the user co-creation, make it valuable, give users the customization power. So that's what I wanted to make sure that we've delivered so many of these, and now that 50%, 70% reduction in time is a reality.
What key strategies and methodologies do you recommend for implementing agile AI practices in large-scale enterprises, especially in highly regulated industries?
Sure. Number one, I think the very important is how you have structured your organization to be AI ready. I think these pre-built solutions and agile ways of working is only possible if you are making a separate hub where these factory of solutions are getting produced. These folks are responsible for making the solutions live, making the solutions sustainable. So it's important how your organization structure. Second, the users becoming more AI savvy, or if I would say more AI, adopting AI literacy at least should be there, should be able to adopt these solutions and make it their own. So the organization on the other side also has to be ready, and the importance of a business partnership. So this layer is something which is critical in an organization between the AI folks who are creating these solutions and the business who is going to co-create and use it. There should be a translator who is be able to merge these two. So for large scale organizations who have really done this successfully across multiple countries, they have got the structure right, they have got the pre-built solutions been invested, saying that we need to build these, identify the right use cases, and the other thing is not everything can fit into this. So you should be cognizant of which are the use cases you are taking up. I think these 3 or 4 things make this successful organizations.
And could you share an example of a successful agile AI implementation that has significantly accelerated time to market for a particular product or a service?
Sure. I'll take an example. I think I shared 3 to 4 of them, but an important one maybe could be in a forecasting situation, right? So when you are doing demand forecasting or order forecasting for various markets, the challenge that the market faces is their SKUs are different, their brands are different, dynamics and the distribution systems are different. But forecasting algorithms are those bunch, right? That is a box that will always be there. Now, most of the places where we do forecasting at scale, there are 2-3 modules which kick in. The forecasting box is already built in, you don't have to build the algorithm all over again. You have the simulation box. So many organizations, forecasting is a very good example where you can top it up with your current planning mechanisms and plug these and make it, the pipelines also, or the input variables also different for every country. That allows that customization and standardization element. That's an example we've seen working very well. Commodity price forecast, a few of the accelerators that I talked about have ones which have been deployed in multiple countries, and really second time you do it, you are 50% time you're doing it, and it gets better and better as you use it.
And one last question. So could you share your thoughts on the Cypher event and what do you make of it?
This is like, I've been associated with this for the last, I think 7 years ago when it started. I was among the first 2 or 3 speakers. From there, I've seen Cypher grown to be a community by itself. I think the power that this event draws to get AI folks together to discuss the trends, it's almost like, we had NASCOM, we had, different events which are for, but AI we did not have. I think this was a great initiative, and happy to see it bloom and come to a level where we can do all this, great speakers, great event. Lovely to hear some of the newer trends coming. I think Jay spoke about that AI, sentiment. So lovely to hear some of the trends which we might not be aware of as practitioners. So best of luck to the AIMs for organizing and pulling this through.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Lovely. Thank you.
Gen I era, what unique challenges and opportunities do you see for businesses in harnessing AI-driven business intelligence?
That's an interesting question. So, if you see traditionally, penetration of BI in terms of how many users can harness value from it, has been about 20-30%. I think with language models and Gen AI, they bring the ability to process the information at scale, text, audio, video, and they bring it to the advantage of the business. I think the real opportunity here is to democratize data and insights for all users in your organization. And we are already seeing these beautiful, natural feeling, conversational experiences which make all the data and insights accessible for everyone. I think the key challenge here is how do you ensure that your data professionals and business users are working in a collaborative way, ensuring that the data is built on trusted platforms and everybody is working on consistent metrics. And I think it provides a unique opportunity to really bring data and insight in the flow of work for every user in your organization.
What key strategies do you recommend for implementing? Sorry, not for you. Sorry. Could you share some innovative? This is fine. So
You want to do one more take or?
No, this is fine. Is it fine? Yeah. So could you?
Okay, you want to do the first one again?
It's fine. Could you share some innovative ways Google Cloud is adapting its BI solution to cater to the evolving Gen AI landscape?
Of course. So we're really excited about Duet AI and Looker, which helps all personas in your organization, like your data analyst, your business user, as well as your modeler, to achieve more out of their data and insights. We're making it real easy for business users to access data and insights through conversational interfaces. We're making it easy for them to do data storytelling through things like automatic creation of presentation and narratives. We're also helping analysts to scale to the requirements of their stakeholders by helping them create reports automatically and create advanced visualizations through natural language inputs. And lastly, we're helping modelers create consistent definition of metrics through LookML assistive intelligence. I think all of this will help users derive more value out of their data and democratize data and insights.
Okay. And how was your experience at Cypher? Please share your thoughts on that.
Yeah, I think it's been a great day one here, and really excited about speaking to everyone about what they're doing in their organization, how they're leveraging generative AI. I think there was a very nice lineup of presentations in the morning, and I really enjoyed delivering my talk, and people came up with really interesting questions, and I think it provides a very good opportunity to really network with people and really learn from each other. So quite a great event.
Okay.
So hi, I'm with Lux Raghupati, Product Manager E-Commerce and Customer Centricity at Shell. Hello Lux. Can you tell me how does Shell leverage data-driven empathy to create products that resonate with customers? And can you share an example of a successful implementation?
Yeah, so that's a very good question. So at Shell, we take customer experience very seriously. And one of the way of measuring customer experience and building into the product design is using data-centric approaches, right? So in our cases, we run MarketHub, which is a B2B e-commerce platform, and our customers are very diverse, right? So they are small, big, and they operate out of different markets. So in order to give that consistent and great customer experience, it's important that we build into a framework where we can get all the customer pain points, bake it into our system so that our product teams exactly understand how and what does the customer need, right? So we've had a recent experience of launching wholesale fuels for 3 large markets across APAC and Europe. And we're happy to share that we've got a great customer response in terms of measured by adoption and also in terms of customer feedback, right? So really, we've got a good sort of understanding now, and we hope to sort of replicate in other markets.
All right. And what are the key strategies do you employ to ensure a seamless integration of customer centricity into Shell's e-commerce operations?
I think the first strategy is to have that leadership support from the top, right? Because if you look at, I work in customer operations team, so our whole motto is to go world-class customer experience at an affordable cost, right? So that's our motto. So it starts from that strategy that this is our sort of table stake. So it's so much of a table stake that even our bonuses depend on how satisfied are our customers. So that's how critical Shell takes customer centricity.
And in today's competitive landscape, how critical is it for organizations to prioritize data-driven empathy? And what advice would you give to businesses looking to embark on a similar journey?
I think for any businesses, small or big, you all know how difficult is it to acquire a customer, right? So you would rather do more business or sustain the business from existing customers rather than let your customer churn and go to our competitors, right? So that's not a good news. So we hope that by putting customers at the heart of your product design and your offerings, you can have a better chance of sort of winning this customer game, right? And not let your competitor eat your share.
All right. And one last one, what do you think of Cypher and how's your experience here?
Well, this is my first Cypher. I was quite amazed by the energy. I was initially a bit I was not sure whether this concept or this topic would have a lot of resonance, but I was very positively appreciative of the feedback which I got so far. Yeah, so it's a great atmosphere, and the organizers have done a great job. Yeah.
All right. Yeah. So yeah, thank you so much, Lex.
All right, thank you so much.
Yeah, I'll just take the mic.
Okay.
Examples of how AI has been leveraged to address a specific large-scale industries challenges within the Adani Group?
Yeah, so we are looking at using AI across multiple problems. Three key areas that I talked about today. One is pricing intelligence. Pricing intelligence across solar components, because we buy thousands of crores worth of solar components every year across our businesses. And we are looking at using AI in order to solve for pricing intelligence. So what does that mean? If we can get better pricing intelligence where we save, I'm not talking about 20-30%, I'm talking about 2-3%. We're going to save a lot of money every year. So we are looking at AI in order to solve these pricing problems. And it is not just with solar components, it is also with steel pricing. It is pricing with cement. So a lot of different use cases in this area. And pricing is a key area because we spend a lot of money. So that is one set of use cases that we are using AI to solve. The second set of use cases that we are using AI to solve is all of the predictive maintenance that we do. Because we operate ports, we operate airports, we operate mines, we operate shipping, all of this. So we are looking at AI to help us do predictive maintenance and get us intelligence in order to be able to manage all of these operations efficiently. Today what happens is when things break down, it takes a lot of effort to get them back online. Not only that, you have downtime. So how do you prevent downtime? And one of the key things that we're doing is using predictive maintenance. And that is where AI is going to be a big help. The other area where AI is going to be a big help is in looking at legal contracts.
Okay.
So we are building a model within Adani to be able to read all of these contracts, to be able to then provide intelligence about these contracts and respond back on these contracts. So those are the key areas we are looking at AI in medicine, doing some imaging. We are looking at AI in optimization across all of our different enterprises, and we are also looking for AI in security and compliance within our airports, our ports, where you don't want people in certain areas because they can get hurt. For example, a port. You don't want people because there is very heavy machinery, being used. So all of these areas, large vision models, deep learning, large learning models, these are all the ones that we are using in order to be able to solve these industry problems.
Okay. So, and what role does data play in success of AI-driven solutions for industrial problems? And how do you ensure data quality and security?
Yeah. So data is a key component in order to train any of our models. All the models that we are using, we need data. And the best part about Adani is we have lots of data. We have the biggest sandbox. We have data across every one of our enterprises. We have a lot of OT data. And we are trying to bring all of those together and clean them, right? You need clean data. Otherwise it's garbage in, garbage out. So how do you make sure that we have clean data? So those are the key areas that we are focused on in order to bring all of this data into one place, or get to a place where we have clean data in order to train all of these models in order to be able to do that. And we have the capability, we have the talent, we have the partners, we have a lot of partners involved in this. So that is how we are doing it.
And how do you see the future of AI in transforming traditional industries?
AI is going to transform them. AI is going to revolutionize everything that we have been doing across a lot of these industries. Just taking the use cases of contracts, taking the use cases of predictive maintenance, taking the use cases of hiring, taking the use cases of how do you buy, how do you purchase, how do you leverage, what are the best things to do, when should you do certain things. All of these things are going to be impacted by how we use AI. And it's only a question of time before we build solutions. But obviously, it's not just about building solutions, it's also having customers who will pay for it. So a lot of this will also be dependent on customer adoption and customers buying it because they see value in it. So that is how I see it, where the pace in which we build these solutions is going to be dependent on how fast our customers see the value and how willing they are ready to pay for it.
Right.
So that's how I see it.
And last question, please share your thoughts on Cypher.
This is a fascinating experience. And I am so excited to see so many people here, talking about AI and all of the speakers. I am thrilled to be part of it. I love this, and kudos to all of you for putting together such an awesome event. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thanks for giving your time. Gen AI fundamentally changing the way enterprise approach and achieve the outcomes?
First of all, thank you for having me here at Cypher. I see a lot of buzz around it and a lot of people, good topics and all. And Gen AI, of course, is the talk of the town. So fundamentally, what Gen AI means is ability to assist the human in a much more reasoning-driven way. Earlier on, it was more like a prescriptive answers that comes out of the models, but Gen AI is fundamentally changing that game to explain, to narrate, which is how a human mind works. And that's why it is very different than the other innovations that has happened. Yeah?
Okay. So can you share some examples of industries or specific outcomes that have been notably transformed by Gen AI?
Oh, there are quite a lot. I will bucket it into three areas, right? First is knowledge management, content creation, content management, efficiencies around it. And this could be your ability for the enterprise to harness whatever they have been doing for years now. If you see today, yes, knowledge management portals were there, documents were there, but there was no facility, no capability to summarize a lot of these things, which is very much fine-tuned and tailored for the individual. Gen AI has given that capability. So knowledge management, content creation, content management, whether marketing or sales or for the enterprise itself, is a big, I would say, differentiator that is coming up. The second bucket I see is where a lot of horizontal processes are getting improvised. Your HR onboarding processes, or you take into account your sales materials and sales preparedness, your marketing preparedness, a lot of supply chain oriented process frameworks, right, and optimizations. A lot of plant operations, a lot of your IT operations and ticket solving. A lot of these things are based on corpus. And now because we have access to that corpus and Gen AI capabilities, it is changing this entire horizontal processes, bringing somewhere between a 5x to 10x efficiency models. The last one is getting into autonomous or automated way of solving very narrow domain-specific problems, whether it is for pharma, whether it is for industrial IoT, whether it is for a lot more into your domain-specific aspects, right? Inventory optimizations, warehouse management, or a retail demand forecasting and inventory planning. In case of CPG, we see from the various recipes out there, how can you recommend the ingredients for people who are going in to buy stuff from the retail stores? A lot of these innovations, which were earlier very time-taking, very effort-intensive because of NLP, and it requires very specialized skills. Now it has become opened up. So content, knowledge management, massive impacts, process and horizontal improvements, massive impact, and finally where the industry is heading into is narrow domain problem solving areas. Yeah?
What are the challenges organizations should anticipate and overcome when adopting Gen AI at the enterprise-wide scale?
I think we are still maturing. Right? Let's not hope that everything will be solved overnight. The capability is powerful, no doubt. But again, like for any AI application, it all depends on the data, right? The more curated data, more quality data, more context-specific data, the better the outcomes will be. So data and the data quality, data management still remains a concern. The second thing is security and privacy is around it, because these models have been trained on different things. There are biases into it, and it is a black box. You just can't open it because it is prohibitively expensive to retrain or fine-tune. So there are security and privacy related concerns that one needs to look into. IP protection, because it has got a generative power, whose IP is it, right? Is the information going out? What happens to my learnings, my information? So many enterprises are now looking into how do we contain this security and threat aspects? How do we build frameworks so that the hallucination factors remain low? It becomes relevant and specific for me. And the applicability side of it, which is prompt engineering, and the applicability side of it, which is prompt engineering, frameworks like RAG. Going forward, there will be more other things to come out. So I think these are the risks that enterprises and practitioners are still exploring. And I'm sure we will also improve in that in the coming years.
Last, could you please
Please share your thoughts on Cypher. How was your experience here?
Oh, wonderful! Wonderful to be back again. This is a very, very good platform to engage, not only with the leaders and practitioners, but network with the fellow AI enthusiasts. As a platform, it is bringing a lot of collaboration also here, a lot of thoughts that are getting shared. Very happy, fascinating, and I'm sure we will continue to do this kind of a setup every year. Right? Looking forward to it.
Thank you.